Hello everyone and welcome. I'm Sarah Liz and today we are going to color the cutest little bunny card. If you are not a fan of coloring in videos, then I would skip this one. I have another video that came out today that is more like our regular card making, but I'm going to use this Easter bunny stamp set that is brand new from Pixi Designs, and I picked 4 of the images from the set and I'm stamping them with Gina K Amalgam Black ink onto the Spectrum Noir cardstock that is designed for alcohol marker coloring. You guys know I've been into coloring lately and I am not an expert, but I found that these images were really easy to color and they were a lot of fun. So I wanted to share this with you. I'm really bad at putting my marker caps up, especially in a place where you can see them. And so I will put the colors of my markers in the top left for you along the way. I am using my lightest yellow, that is the Stampin' Up! Daffodil Delight, to color the bee and one of the eggs and just get a base color. And then I'm coming in with a darker yellow just around either edge of the bee's face and the bottom of the egg. And then I will blend that out by going back to my lightest shade of yellow. I have a hodgepodge of markers. I have 8 OLOs, 6-ish Stampin' Up! Markers, and a whole bunch of Ohuhu alcohol markers that you can get on Amazon. My favorites by far are the Ohuhu. These come with a brush tip on one end and a bullet tip on the other. Not all of the Ohuhus are like that, just certain ones. I'll link what I have below. And I am just laying down on the eggs, then a light color and then a darker color down at the bottom where I feel like there would be a little bit of shadowing. For this purple egg, this is the biggest challenge for me because these 2 markers, the 24 and the 25 and the R's, are just a little too similar. So I scribbled some P4 on my silicone mat that came with my markers, and I am just picking that up with my R25 to try to get a darker tone that's a little closer to the R24. And then for the wheelbarrow, I'm getting brave. Instead of going from light to dark and back to light, I am starting with my darkest shade. I'm going again where I think there would be shadows. So on that piece along the side, on the top and the bottom, and then in between the slats of wood. If this doesn't blend out perfectly when I lay down my lighter color, I think that's okay, right? It's wood, it's rough and ready. And so some of those harsh edges or lines kind of look like wood grain, and I really like how that turned out. I will then use those same brown tones and I will go back to my basket. I'm coming in with a solid layer of the lightest brown here, and then I will come back in with that darker shade just right around the edge, the rim of the basket, and then underneath like the little nubbins of the basket, right? I will try to soften that a little bit, even with my bullet tip, that it's a little bit thick for that delicate image. So then I'll blend that out. I'm using a couple shades of gray for the hardware on my wheelbarrow. And then I'm coming in, this is one of my pairs of OLOs with this sort of vivid pink, and I'll use that for the egg and the bow. Maybe it's just a learning curve. I think the OLOs are harder to use than the Ohuhu markers because of the way they're designed. More ink comes out more quickly, and so I will sometimes have ink bleeding into areas where I don't want it. So that's been a challenge. If I go really carefully and delicately, I tend to be okay. I'm coming in with 3 shades of gray for the wheelbarrow wheel, and I'm trying to leave the lightest bit in that top right corner where I think the light would hit it. I'm not super worried about a light source, but that seems like our lightest spot. And then I'll use those same 2 darkest grays for the bee. I didn't want to go just straight black on the stripes of that bee. And so I put my darkest gray on the top and bottom of each stripe and then the lighter shade in the middle. For the bunny, I'm coming in with my 00 gray. It's almost not there, and I am just adding a little bit of a shadow underneath the face, where the arm meets the body, where the body meets the leg, where the leg meets the ground, places where I think we would see our darkest parts. I didn't want him to look like he wasn't colored at all, or her, I guess. She's got a little bow, right? And so just a little bit to that bunny. And then I'm going to make a ground for my bunny to be hopping along. I am using 2 shades of green, and I'm coming in with my lightest shade, and I'm trying to work in sort of circular motions and lay down quite a bit of ink. I found that that is typically how I'm able to get rid of some of those brush strokes. And then I'm coming in with a slightly darker shade of green, and I am adding shadowing underneath the bunny and underneath my wheelbarrow just for a little bit of accent. I'll take that same darker green and I am going to add little tufts of grass here and there. So some of them I'm just using like a flicking motion, and I'll add 3 blades or 2 blades. I'm trying to vary it just a little something so it doesn't look like our bunny is hopping across a golf course. And then I'm coming in with my lightest shade and I am blending out those shadows. I don't know that I needed to do that, but I like how it turned out. It's still a little wet here, so it dries back a little bit lighter than that. I'm going to add all of this to an A2 card base, and I'm using a nice sort of springy blue patterned paper cut to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then I am going to add some very thin foam tape to the back of my bunny image. I actually stamped that straight onto a panel that I had already cut back. It is 4 1/2 by 3 1/4. So I'm going to get a 1/2 inch margin all the way around this image. I'm going to finish this off by adding just a little bit of Stickles to the bunny's tail, a little shine, a little glitter, and that will finish up our card. If you like this card, if you like coloring videos, please let me know in the comments and I will do more of them. Give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. I'm glad to have you here, and I will see you next time.